This video will take us from the boundary of Norwich at Harvey Lane to Thunder Lane, which is actually part of Thorpe St Andrew. Immediately opposite the end of Harvey Lane, there was a greyhound track on an area called Carey's Meadow from 1933 until 1939. It is now an area given over to a nature walk. Harvey Lane was named after John Harvey, who built and lived in Thorpe Lodge, now part of the offices of Broadland Council. He also built a gazebo, now partly hidden by trees, but seen here in 1992. In Harvey's time, this contained a camera obscura enabling views to be reflected and sketched. This is the entrance to Thorpe Old Hall, one of the oldest buildings in Thorpe. Originally it was a summer palace of the Bishop of Norwich, but it later formed part of John Harvey's extensive estate. It's pictured here in 1952. Opposite is a new housing development called Narrows Place, recalling a time in the 1950s when the road, then the A47, narrowed at this point, following what is now the lay-by outside the townhouse and neighbouring buildings. Everything to the north of the original road was removed to allow smooth traffic flow. Let's have a look at some now and then pictures comparing before the widening of Thorpe Narrows with the present day. This is looking back towards the city with the townhouse on the left and everything on the right being demolished with the newer buildings set back. Looking out of the city again, you can just make out the road sign for School Lane in the distance, with the 2022 view looking like this, School Lane just visible between the trees. Here is that road sign on a cottage which would be demolished to accommodate the road widening. So everything to the north of the original road was removed, with this a 1961 view of some replacement flats, seen here in 2022. It would be wrong to leave this little stretch of the road without a reference to a claim to fame for the townhouse. East End gangster Reggie Cray was released from prison in 2000 on compassionate grounds and spent the last 5 weeks of his life in the honeymoon suite at the Townhouse Hotel. The school in School Lane dates from 1841 and was enlarged in the 1870s and 90s. It remained in use until replaced by Hillside and subsequently St William's schools. Just opposite the old school is Tower Hill, which I believe takes its name from the old Pine Banks Tower to the north, seen here in 1997 and here in 2022. Further north still are the remains of the former Norwich Union sports facilities, known as Pine Banks, but rather than heading north indefinitely, let's go back down to Yarmouth Road. These are the cottages at the bottom of School Lane from the opposite direction before road widening in 1955, with the King's Head pub dating from 1650 and now named the River Garden on the opposite side of the road. This is the St Lucia Hotel in 1992, which has since become apartments, with its 4 gables seen in the middle distance here in 1956 amid further road widening. The Church of St Andrew was originally a thatched building, but this was too small for a growing village. It was replaced and subsequently demolished, leaving just the original tower as the entrance and exit to the new church. A spire 150 feet high was added in 1882, but this was damaged in the Second World War, and it was removed in 1955 and replaced with a smaller spire. The trees have now grown to hide the church, and you need to move further back to see it. Next to the church was the Buck Inn, seen here in 1952. Said to date from the 12th century, it closed in 2019. This house, Idle Hour, was built in the 19th century, imitating Tudor style, and contains panelling from the original St Andrew's Church. It's next to Chapel Lane. The chapel is long gone, but the white building you can see in the distance is seen here in 1995. The retail premises on Yarmouth Road were built on what had previously been the front gardens of the original houses. And now a mystery. A number of post boxes were painted gold in the hometowns of gold medal winners winners after the 2012 Olympics, but I can't find any record of a winner in Thorpe, so why is this one painted gold? From River Green, this is the view across to the railway bridge, seen here in 1999. It was here that in 1874 there was a major railway disaster. You can read all about it in this superb book by Phillida Scrivens. This is the Rush Cutters, which had previously been called the Boat and Bottle, and Thorpe Gardens at the time of this 1952 photo, and previously the 3 Tons. It was as the 3 Tons that it provided help for those involved in the rail disaster on the nearby bridge. 2 hotels next, firstly the Oaklands, once the home of one of the founders of Lawrence and Scott, and next the Old Rectory, which was converted to a hotel in the 1980s. As we approach the traffic lights, we'll briefly look right and then left. The house on the corner was the station master's house. A short distance away, this was the location of his station, and we can now see it reappear. If we had looked left at those traffic lights, this is the view into Thunder Lane. As with much of this video, the road was originally much narrower and needed to be widened.